we have given up on Instagram Live. We are not able to upload our recording to stories, and that's a big problem. We had a lot of interruptions in our stream, so we thought it would be best just to re-record our session, and we're gonna call it
the Beatrice vlog.
Because we're not actually live, so that doesn't make any sense anymore. So I'm going to start out with a very short Q&A session. These are questions that we got over Instagram and email during the past few weeks. So first question is...
Can you steam garments on your Beatrice?
Can you steam garments on your Beatrice? Absolutely. In fact, that is how we finish our forms when they go out the door, to make the covers kind of suck in and fit the forms really tightly. We use a steamer to do that. So you absolutely can steam on a Beatrice. I have done some steaming on mine in order to shape, gosh, what have I shaped? So when I'm sewing and I'm doing facings, especially around the neckline, I put that on my form and then I use the steamer to shape everything. So definitely you can use the Beatrice for steaming.
Okay, second question. Will the Beatrice scanning process capture my long torso?
Absolutely, and the reason why it'll capture your long torso is because it captures everything unique about your body. The way I like to describe it, it's a 3D picture of your body. That's the way our scanning process works. And we use that 3D picture to cut out your form out of foam. A lot of people think that, not a lot, but people, when they originally find us, they think that we 3D print our forms, and that's not how we do it. We take a big block of foam and cut out your 3D shape from that foam. It's a subtractive fabrication process instead of an additive one. And why do we do that? Because the material we want to make our forms out of, which is a compressible polyurethane foam, you can't 3D print that. So we want something that's perfect for pinning into and working with as a dress form, and that material you can only cut out. You cannot 3D print, so that's why we do it that way.
All right, number 3, why don't we have legs on our forms?
Why don't we have legs? This is a huge question, not huge, we get this question all the time. And the reason for this is because there are pros and cons with full-size dress forms that include legs. So if you think about an alvenon or a wolf full dress form that includes legs and arms, these forms are hung from this stand. It comes up and then it has a handle thing, and then there's a pole that the form is mounted on. And the reason they do this is because if it was just swinging and hanging, if you tried to work on it, it would drive you nuts because it would always be moving around. And so our forms are not like that because, first of all, they're asymmetric. If we just hung them, they would not hang the way you actually stand, and this would screw up your sewing because you need to mount your forms the way that you stand in order to get the garment balance right. And
how do we do that?
We do that by, in our scanning process, we capture the floor so we can see the way you stand. You do not stand the way your form would hang with its center of balance. You actually, everybody stands in their own way, and it doesn't necessarily correspond to the center of mass of your body. So we couldn't just hang them, it would be wrong. It wouldn't be positioned correctly. So we have to mount our forms on a pole, which means that we'd have to have that giant stand, and then we'd be attaching from the top, and then you would not be able to put the garment over the top of the form, which is what a lot of people do when they dress their forms. They want to slide the garment over the top, which you can't do with a stand like that. And that's what we'd have to have if we had legs and to mount it properly. So that's just out for us. So there are pros and cons with that kind of vertical mounting, and we just don't think that that expense is worth the pros for us, for our customers. So that's why we mount them in a traditional dress form way, and why they don't have legs. we thought that was the best compromise of function and price for our customers. Now that doesn't mean that we will never attempt to solve the problems of pants fitting with legs. So stay tuned. We have some ideas of how to create a pants form that helps you to do that, and we'll be doing that experiment in the future. So definitely stay tuned, sign up for our newsletter, watch our vlogs in the future for information about that.
Okay, someone had a question about basting with silk thread.
Basting with, that wasn't a question actually, that was a conversation that I was participating in on Instagram, and I think it's neat to call attention to this because it's a great tailoring technique that you can use in all of your sewing. So here's a blazer that I made a long time ago in a class, and I'm gonna have to get a little closer, but do you see that pink thread? It's holding this lapel down. Can we push it down a little? Okay, so you can see it's all in this lapel. It's holding this pocket shut. It's also down here holding this pocket closed, so there's basting all along here, and then these bound buttonholes on this side. You can see that there's silk thread, this pink silk thread holding them shut. And the reason why you use silk thread is because it doesn't leave marks when pressed. So, as you know, in tailoring, I almost stepped on the dog's head. It just missed her head. The dog is at my feet. In tailoring, you use the silk thread because it doesn't leave the marks, and I think it would be great to use in everyday sewing as well. It's also really easy to pull out, so that's really nice.
So tell us about your Jasika Blazer changes.
Sure. Wait, I missed a step.
Okay.
I before we move on to the Jasika, I want to talk briefly about where I learned how to use the silk thread for basting. I learned from this book. I think it's everything. Is everything backwards? It is. So I'll read it to you. It is The Classic Guide to Sewing the Perfect Jacket, Tailoring. And what's really wonderful about this book is that it shows both methods, what they call the custom method, which is by hand. You know, when you think of tailor's tack or pad stitching and those kind of techniques. And then it also shows you machine methods for the exact same thing. And I really, really like this book. Let me find, so this, I don't know if you can see, but it shows on this side how to use pad stitching to shape your undercollar. And then on this side, it shows a machine way of getting that shape into your undercollar. And then on the next page, I love this one. So here's a picture of the custom method, by hand method of doing all the shaping in the jacket front, and then over here is the machine methods. And I really love all the pictures, but anyway, you can kind of see I use the machine method on this jacket because this is a leather undercollar. If you look closely, you can see all the stitching there. It was really great to use that. And then another book that I think is really good, it's called Vintage Couture Tailoring. And this book is definitely more old school. If you want to learn traditional methods, this is your book. I found it really inspiring. They even have like the history of tailoring with photographs. It shows, I love this. So you can actually shape the wool by using your iron, and this shows the methods that you would use to get shaping in the back region where your shoulder blades are, or your arm. Let me stand up and show you. So your arm, you don't tailor for a straight arm like this because this is not how you generally hold your arm. It's usually a little bent, so you can use methods to shape the sleeve to make this turn using an iron. It's pretty awesome. And then of course bound buttonholes and hand sewn buttonholes and all the little style details that you can do by hand, which I think those are really fun and why you want to make a tailored jacket. So definitely check out those books for that information. Now, on to my Jasika Blazer. Okay, I gotta move back so you can see. So I had a lot of fit challenges. And actually, can you raise the camera up just a little bit? Because you can't see my head. Just a little. Okay. And then I'll move this up. Perfect. Okay. So I am a petite woman. I'm 5'2", and most patterns are designed for somebody much taller than I am. And I actually try to do the fitting just with tissue, with the paper pattern, and normally I can do a lot of my fitting that way on my custom Beatrice, but this blazer is a lot more complicated than your average pattern. So, and then I found that I am pretty short-waisted compared to the way this pattern was designed. So you can see here on this side, I have, these are my fitting changes. This is what I ended up draping for myself. And on this side, this was the original pattern. So I'm going to show you some of the problems I was having fitting this original pattern. This is graded for my size. I'm different sizes in the bust and waist and hip. And even a graded pattern still gives me a lot of trouble. I'm really narrow through here. I have a rounded back. If you look, this is center front, this is inside out, but if I line up this center front here with my center front, you can see that I've got, 2.5 inches overhang here. This is nowhere near my high point shoulder where this seam should be. The bust is pretty close, but the apex point, this is the apex point of the pattern. That's my apex point, that's off by an inch. Waist, this is where my main problems are. So my waist is right here, I have it marked on my form. This is where the waist is in the pattern, so it's really far off for me. What else? I don't have enough room in the back. Because of my rounded back, I need more length coming around and length to make it to here. So you can see I don't have the length here, and then the seam center back is right there. So I'm not even making it to center back. So this is a big problem. And these are huge issues, so my dart is completely misplaced. The other thing I'm not super excited about is this 2-inch distance between the end of the dart and the bust point. So I'm going to shorten that to 1 inch. So anyway, I tried to do this in the tissue form and it was just giving me so much grief. So I went ahead and just redraped the style. And that sounds really drastic, but it was actually not a big deal at all. It's much faster than futzing with the pattern itself. So here's my center front right there, and now waist is in the right place. This is my apex, and I've moved the dart so that it's 1 inch away from this apex. The dart is actually a lot smaller. I've sewn it shut, it's on the other side, but now the dart is about 5/8 worth of material taken out, and over here this dart was like 1.5 inches, so I needed a lot less, a dramatic dart right there. I didn't change the sleeve or the shoulder and front here, I just draped it, so now it fits my width and everything. And then on the back, because of my rounded back, I had to put a shoulder dart in. There's just no way this thing is gonna fit me properly without this dart here because of all the curvature. Otherwise it'd be all baggy here and you'd get crazy drag lines back here. And since I had 2 pieces of fabric, I do have a seam line right here, but I'm gonna take that out and follow the style of the pattern, which is a panel right here. But this is just how I draped it, and I just take that out and when I do the final pattern. So I just wanted to show you how much easier it is to see on when you do a drape to see what the changes are. I didn't use any math, I didn't have to do any measuring. Maybe the only measurement I have is this bust apex to dart point, but that's about it. Everything I just do intuitively. Another thing I noticed is this lapel. So if I just kind of open this up to like this, I'm so narrow up here that if I use the original lapel shape, it would take up half my body, and that's not really the way this style was designed. So I actually think that it's going to be somewhere in the range of what I've draped here. Maybe I'll add a little bit more, but I'm just going to look at the pictures and and add whatever length I need or increase the side of the lapel to match the style. So that was my experience. I just would have been lost without my custom form. I just don't know what I would have done. I'm so far off the standard shape. I mean, people look at me and they think I'm pretty standard. I am not standard. I'm way off the normal like length and girth and body shape, especially in my back. So this helped me a lot. What else? Oh yeah. So when I was doing this project, it made me realize that it is a lot easier to drape to fit, especially when you are really far off the standard, than it is to make guesses on your paper pattern and do like full bust adjustment and these really strange, I don't know, very heady kind of changes where you have to measure and do calculations and then do trial and error and keep making muslins. I found this to be much more intuitive and really fast actually. I had this done in about 45 minutes, which is so much less time than it normally takes me to fix flat patterns. So I'm thinking about this concept of kind of reinventing the indie pattern where you get style inspiration and a recipe for how to drape the style. So you're making a block with, you know, a lot of pointers on how you would go about doing that, and then the accompanying material would tell you how to execute some of the sewing details, like how to maybe install a zipper or how to do a dart and how to place that and stuff like that. So I thought that might be pretty cool. We're playing around with that idea. One thing I definitely am realizing is that draping is not a big deal. People think of it as a very advanced topic, but it really isn't. It is very intuitive. A beginner can do it for sure. And so Gabby and I have started this new series. We did a test video last week where we just hang out together. We pick a style we want to drape. Gabby does a quick sketch, and these are just like things we want in our wardrobe, and then we drape together on our Beatrice forms. And what's great is we are very different shapes. she is taller than me, she's younger than me, she's got a bigger chest than I do, she has much more upright posture. I'm smaller, I've got, my boobs are lower, my butt's lower, I'm older, and I'm much shorter. And I have a rounded back. She has a completely straight back. So it's really neat to see two different people with different bodies drape a style. And the first one we did was a very simple scoop woven tee with a cap sleeve and a very loose fitting torso. And hers is cropped, mine isn't. But anyway, I will provide a link in the comment sections if you want to check out our video. Now, this is a total rough draft. If you like it, we want to turn that into a series where Gabby and I hang out and drape different things together. So I'm pretty excited about that. That should be a lot of fun. Anything else? So that's all we have. Apologies again for the Instagram Live failure, but hopefully we'll have the technical part figured out for next time. It won't be Instagram Live. I think we will be hosting either on YouTube or Vimeo these vlog videos, but we'll let you know on Instagram when we post those. So have a great weekend. Bye.